everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a bit of a downer. I apologize in advance, but it just sort of is what it is. Let's go back to last week. We had to put our cat to sleep, and that was awful. I mean, it's never good, but it was just, we're not coping all that well. We're literally just back right now. We stopped at the vet on our way home and we picked up our cat's ashes, and I miss her, and our home isn't the same without her. So that has kind of sort of set the tone for everything else that followed that week. But the weather hasn't cooperated either. It has been like full-blown winter here in Ontario, and I can't really complain because the winter itself so far has been great, but it all caught up to us last week and we had a dumping of snow, and then it became very, very cold. So all of my runs have been on the treadmill. I genuinely do not like running on the treadmill, and not only do I just find it boring, but also my pace. I don't know what it is with the treadmill. If I just have a shitty treadmill, which is entirely possible. It's really not the most expensive thing out there. It's not high tech at all. It's also, I think, about 5 years old. But I'll put a graphic up here. This was all at the same level on the treadmill. If anything, there were a couple times where I increased the speed, but it didn't translate into an increase on my watch in terms of the overall pace. And then there's just so much variation, and I genuinely don't understand it because I'm running at what feels to be the same pace, but it like varies wildly. So whenever I'm doing any sort of like interval run on the treadmill, I have such a hard time with it because locking in on those paces is really difficult, and it's just very frustrating. Anyways, as of today, it's currently like 3 degrees outside. The sun is out. So whenever I get the opportunity to run outside, I do, but there are limitations. I will not run in a foot of snow because foot of snow. And also like on Sunday, I had a run scheduled and that was very, very cold. It was about -20 with the wind chill, and that just hurts to breathe, and I'm not interested in running outside when it hurts to breathe. So I did that run on the treadmill. I'm also in between programs as of Sunday, I was in between training programs on Runna. I will get into that a little bit more in the rest of this video, but suffice it to say, on Sunday, I knew I wanted to run. I hadn't run since Thursday. I didn't have another run on my schedule until Tuesday, but I didn't really know what to do with myself because I didn't have a structured run planned. So I had the great idea of let's aim for a 5K PB, and that went disastrously. I did not achieve a PB. I did not achieve 5K. I got 2.3K into it and I had to stop because my iron issues are raising their ugly little head as well. And I was so dizzy on the treadmill that it was dangerous. I just had to stop it. Basically, my blood is essentially water. I have extremely low hemoglobin, which results in extremely low iron, which results in a whole host of problems, dizziness being top of that list. I have mentioned it in a previous video, but in case you've missed that, I'll just do a quick recap here. Essentially, I have extremely low hemoglobin and iron levels. I have an underlying medical condition called thalassemia. My body just doesn't produce enough hemoglobin to begin with, but I also underwent gastric bypass almost 4.5 years ago. A lot of bariatric patients do end up with low iron. I am no exception, except my issues are compounded by the fact that just my own medical makeup, I don't produce enough hemoglobin to begin with, so I'm already playing with half a deck. I've had 4 IV infusions since June. Even with those, my levels still haven't hit the low end of normal. They're getting closer and we're well out of the danger zone, but there's still improvement and there's still work to be had. And basically, I'm going to have an IV iron infusion probably every month for the rest of my life. My next one is scheduled for next week. I haven't had one, unfortunately, since November, I believe it was, and I can certainly tell that my levels are on the decline again. So all that to say, during my run on the treadmill, I became very dizzy and I just felt it was dangerous and I had to stop. But I also just felt very defeated and very, I don't know, angry, upset, mad. I don't really know what the emotion was. Also, full disclosure, TMI, we're in that nice hormonal stage of the month, so that could be playing into the mood as well. In fact, it very likely is. But I spent the rest of Sunday just sort of wallowing in self-pity and very upset over the fact that I did not reach my 5K goal and that I did not set a PR. I have now had some, benefit from perspective. It's not the end of the world. And also, you're not going to hit a PB every training run that you do. It's just not possible, and it really shouldn't be anything that I'm striving for. So going forward, I'm just going to ease that arbitrary pressure off of myself. So the last update I did, I had a long run that took me a long time just mentally to get my head around actually doing it. I just don't feel like running today. This week, however, was the first week where I really seriously thought, why am I even doing this? And I try not to make big decisions while I am in that hormonal window, because those hormones speak quite loudly and they make me do really weird shit. So I did not, sell my treadmill like I was thinking of doing. I've taken a step back. I've calmed down. I have a 6K easy run on the calendar for today, but I did want to film this before I start the training for this week's block. And I just kind of wanted to share that it's, I like to put out a lot of positivity. I like to, if I can do it, you can do it, and all that kind of stuff. And I firmly believe that people can achieve more than what they think they can. It's just not always easy. And I don't think I would be doing myself any favors, and I certainly don't think I'm doing anybody who's watching these videos any favors to pretend otherwise. I just don't see the point in doing that. I could come on here and say, yeah, I had a great week and everything went well and I'm feeling super positive, but I wasn't and I didn't. And that's all kind of part and parcel of it. And it's how we handle those challenges and those moments of self-doubt that can really get us over the finish line. And so today I have a 6K easy run on the schedule. I'm going to go get changed and do that. It's nice and sunny out right now, and I really need the endorphin hit today, so I'm actually very much looking forward to it. At any rate, there we have it. And now let's talk about the changes to my training plan.
I'd mentioned in a previous video that the plan I had originally scheduled for myself just showed distances. It didn't have any variety in terms of the types of runs that I did, and I felt that I needed more guidance. So I've been looking at a few different apps, and Runna is the one that I have settled on. And for me, apps need to be intuitive. I don't want to have to read how to and FAQ sections and all that kind of stuff just to figure out what to do. I need it to be clear and concise, and Runna is all of that. It's also very adaptive, which I love, that you can just make it specific to your own speeds, your own, goals that you're working towards, your own availability, how many days a week you want to run, all of that kind of stuff. I love that they have strength and mobility. They've also just added Pilates as well. I have not used the Pilates yet, but I have added that as an exercise to incorporate in my weekly training as well. I also really like that you can change your schedule around really easily depending on whatever you have going on that week. I love that as a working mother. It is vital to me, so very, very helpful. I also really like that the strength and the mobility and the Pilates options that they have there, they're actually guided so that there are videos that you can watch to follow along, which is fantastic for a newbie like me. And as well, the runs, as you can see here, you can set them to treadmill or to outdoor so you have an idea of what level on your treadmill. It's all very clear. It syncs up with my Garmin, so especially for interval sessions, I will never remember what the intervals are in my head. So it actually sends those intervals to my watch so that I get a notification as each one changes and what pace I should be aiming for. Overall, I've been really enjoying the app, and I find that it works really well for what I'm looking for. And I just wanted to share it with you guys in case you weren't aware of it or in case you're in the market for a training app. With all of that said, thank you so much for following along with this week's training, such as it was. And here's hoping for a better week in this upcoming week. Let me know in the comments what successes you've enjoyed this week or what challenges you've faced. I'd love to hear from you. And otherwise, I will see you in next week's video. Thank you again and take care. Bye for now.